What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike. Today I literally just crawled out of bed. Had a long night with the wife last night, and so I'm not up to my usual speed yet. I'm gonna try to use this video and see if I can engage my brain to wake up out of the deep sleep that it's been in. The good news is that I did get good sleep. So today what we're talking about is I'm going to give you a week 6 cycle update. I'm on 300 milligrams of Tren E, 200 milligrams of Test E, and 300 milligrams of Masteron E. Since we are at the midpoint of this cycle, let me break out the ancillaries for you as well, because those will obviously be very important. I am taking a quarter milligram of cabergoline. Somebody was in the comment section arguing about the pronunciation of that word. Whatever. Cabergoline. I'm going with cabergoline. That's what I'm just going to keep saying, because I don't fucking care. So I take I take a quarter of a milligram 3 times a week of cabergoline. Then I take 1.5 milligrams per week of Arimidex. I take currently I'm at 120 milligrams of telmisartan per day to control my blood pressure. I'm taking 2 IUs of growth hormone to aid with my sleep. I take 10 milligrams of Ambien to aid with my sleep. I am taking 0.5 milligrams of Xanax. Yes, I have titrated slightly up during this Tren cycle from 0.35 to 0.50 on the Xanax dose. I honestly don't always do that. The big reason that I did is I got lazy when I had C. diff. I was not on my A game, guys, and it was easier to just break off the 4 bar. The bar comes in 2 milligram pills with, four halves. And so I usually take the bar and I crush it up, and then I have to weigh out 0.35 milligrams. And honestly, I just got lazy. And so I told my wife about it. I made a commitment once I get off the higher dose of Tren to go back to 0.35. Sometimes I do take the time to wait out just to confirm that I'm not having any withdrawal or dependency situation, and I don't. So, but for transparency's sake, since a lot of people thought that there was going to be dosage creep there, like a year ago, and then it never occurred, I am currently taking 0.5 milligrams of Xanax. I take 5 milligrams of Cialis per day. I take 1 Nexium per day, and I have Zopiclone on hand, although I have not been using it recently. I've been putting myself to sleep with Red Bull, like I said in the last few videos. So really the point of this video is to talk about how markedly different this cycle has been to every other single one of my Trenbolone cycles. I said in the beginning of the video that I had promised my wife that I would never do Tren again. And especially at 300 milligrams, because for one, I don't grow on it anymore. That's point number 2 I'm going to be getting to. I don't grow in general. Like I've been stuck at about 200 pounds. At 200 pounds, you can see all 6 of my abs, but they're not. I have a lot of lower back fat and fluff. It's like I'm not like shredded like I am now. So to give you a weight update, at the 6-week mark, my weight has dropped from just a hair, like a tiny hair. When I first started this cycle, I bumped up. I was at 200.2 pounds. I think one day I saw 200.5. That's totally naked at the end of the day. So 200.5 pounds was the max weight that I have gotten up to. And this morning I weighed 189 pounds. Now that's not a good weight because I really need to compare evening to evening. But the lowest weight that I've seen in the evening was 190.4 pounds. So what we have here is in a 6-week period of time, I have lost 10 pounds on this cycle, and I was not trying to. When I set out to do this cycle, I actually got motivated by 1,000-pound sisters. And I'm like, if these girls can get to be fucking 600 pounds, like, surely I can get to 210, right? Like surely I could get to 210. I only need to gain 10 pounds. These people gain 10 pounds, like, I mean, in 2 days. What the fuck is wrong with me? Clearly I don't eat like they do. That's what's wrong with me. And one of the things that I have been lying to myself about for years doing these tren cycles is tren just crushes my appetite, dude. Like, I have zero appetite on tren. And so that's why it's such a great cutting drug. My body right now, I'm as soon as it warms up outside, and before I start putting weight back on, I'm gonna go get a scan. I'm the leanest I've ever been in life. My last body scan, I was at like 188 pounds and I was 9.4% body fat. I would be shocked if I'm not down to 8% right now. I think I'm as lean as I have ever been in life. The vascularity is insane. Obviously, I've dropped so much weight, and meaning that I'm apparently in enough of a calorie deficit that my workouts are beginning to struggle. Like, I've got strength, but I just cannot, like, you know, I can't do those 2-hour full-blown kill it in the gym workouts. Can't do it. I just don't have the calories. So I'm gonna start trying to. Like, part of me is kind of just like content to cut. You know, like, I've always said that I was going to try to get freakishly lean like Joe. And then what happens is I have this twofold situation. So when I go into cuts, I'll tell my wife, you know what, I'm going to get fucking like stage ready one time. You know, like that, not like necessarily stage ready. Like, I'm not going to take diuretics and cleanse and shit. But like through just pure dieting and normal PED use, I'm going to see how freakishly lean I can get. And what happens is I get to the point that I'm at this morning. Like, when I woke up this morning, got on the scale and it said 189, I panic. Like, historically, I cannot fucking cope with being under 190 pounds. It's this ego thing to me. I see less than 190 on the scale and I just freak out and go, holy shit, I've got to start eating right now or I'm just going to wither away. Tomorrow I'm going to be 165 and I'm going to lose all my gains and it's going to be a total disaster. And so this time I'm struggling this morning. It's hard to see that number on the scale because I just have this stupid mindset. I just want to be 200 pounds. Like, I just want to be 5'10", 200, 6-pack abs. Like, that to me is like ideal. And right now I'm spending so much time making content. I usually wake up in the morning and I start making content. And so, like, I'll be drinking like my Monster right now and I haven't eaten anything. And so I'll probably spend half hour, 45 minutes making this video. Then I watch the entire video back to make sure I didn't say anything stupid that I need to cut or edit. So now you're an hour and a half into the video process. Then I start the uploading process that usually takes 20, maybe 30 minutes. And so now you're a 2-hour mark, and somewhere in there maybe I'll try to get my first meal in. So I've slept for, say, 8 hours, and then I was basically intermittently fasting for the first, not fasting, because I mean there's some calories in here, but you know, then I don't get a full meal for 2 hours. And then sometimes what'll happen is I'll be done making a video and I'll go in there to try to get a meal. My wife will be like, dinner's 15 minutes out. And I'm like, all right. So then I'll wait a little bit longer. And then, you know, 9 times out of 10, if she says 15, it means 30. And so I could get up at, you know, if I get up late like I did today, like real late, like I said, we were arguing until 8 o'clock in the morning this morning. If I slept till 4. So if I sleep till 4 o'clock in the afternoon and my first meal doesn't come till 6:30 or 7, you know, and then I try to go to bed by, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then there's not a lot of time to get calories in, because what happens is I'm busy making videos, and then when my kids go to bed about 10:30, my daughter goes to bed about 9:30 or 10, and then my wife and I start kind of winding down into our routine, and we sit in bed and we watch a lot of TV shows and shit, and so sometimes I'll graze a little bit there. I'm just not eating the calories. Right now I'm just rambling excuses. and I'm just not eating calories, and I'm shedding body weight, which is cool. I mean, if I had been intending to cut, it would be great. And I can't complain at all about the aesthetic. It's just, it fucks with me, man. So then on the other end of the spectrum, when I go to bulk, I go, I'm gonna get to 210 pounds, and I get the MK677 out. And I'm probably going to do a bulk here at the end of this cut. I'm probably going to use DECA this time, get off this trend, and use DECA again now that I've learned how to control the prolactin. I might even throw in some EQ. I haven't really decided yet. I'm thinking about also doing a real high test blast for the first time. I've never gone to like a gram a test. Thinking about running like a gram test, 600 milligrams of fucking DECA and turn into a water balloon. Actually, what I really want to do is I want to run a gram a test and 600 milligrams of DECA and maybe some more shit and prove to you guys that you don't have to turn into a water balloon. So I want to take a whole bunch of wet compounds and stay on my blood markers, stay on my E2 levels, and prove to you that I can fucking put lean gains on just what should make me look like a fucking water buffalo. So that may be coming up, but what happens is when I start bulking is the second I start gaining weight, I start feeling good, start measuring the biceps are getting fucking thicker, getting full, looking all over, I'm feeling the cycle strengths going up in the gym, energy levels going up in the gym because I got a lot of calories, extra calories, so I'm in there like fucking killing it. And then slowly but surely, it's like those lower two abs kind of start disappearing. And usually once the lower two abs are gone, I freak out. I panic and I pull the fucking plug on it. I just can't, that's my problem. I don't ever want to look bad. Like I always want to look athletic. I want to be able to bulk up to 210 and never lose my abs. And while I think it's probably doable if I did some like really extended cycle or some shit, it just requires so much eating for such a long period of time, and then I can't maintain it, and then I start cheating and not eating and, fucking off meals and come up with excuses to miss meals, and then I start losing weight again. And then once I start losing weight, then I start getting discouraged, and then I fucking quit the program again. Which is why I just hover right around that 197, 200 mark, because that's the mark that I can sit at where I've got fullness, vascular, like my veins still look great, I still look peeled, I still have six-pack abs, but I have like the general mass that I want instead of looking kind of fucking emaciated, looking like I'm starting to look now. So that's the reason that my weight, like for the last couple of years, just hasn't been going anywhere. So that's where I'm at body weight on this cycle. As for side effects, this has been the least mindfuck trend cycle I have ever been on, even though my wife and I are fighting a little bit. I had been trying to decide whether I was going to make an entire video about this, and I kind of live my life based on the idea that effectively we live in the Matrix, and that everything that we do is programmed, and I'm feeling compelled to just talk about it right now. So fucking here we go. So the reason my wife and I have been fighting for the past few nights, we were having our marriage has been perfect for 10 months plus. I mean, we just haven't had like the tiniest little blow up. And so we were talking about some of her cycles. She was thinking about going back on Primo, or she was thinking about starting Primo, and we were debating about whether to get her off the test first and then start the Primo, because she's on a really tiny dose of test, like 3 milligrams a week, but it's enough to give her some virilization. And so I kind of wanted to just do the Primo on top of the test so that we can go just get straight into the Primo and find out what it does to her. And she was kind of leaning in the direction of taking the test out, which is going to take 4 weeks at least to get the test out of her system, then start the Primo E, which is going to take 4 weeks for it to really get into her system. And so you get this 8-week swing of where we're really not learning anything. And like, I'm a fucking results now kind of guy. It's a long fucking time for me to wait. And so I wanted her to just go up, put the fucking Primo in, and then if you start feeling side effects, then we'll decide which one to take out. So we're kind of like reminiscing about previous cycles, and she was talking about the last time that she had done an Anavar cycle, and she'd been on 10 milligrams of Anavar alone, no test, and at the 7 week mark, we had this big ass fight. Coincidentally, I had been coming up on Tren at that time, which 100% contributed to it. We got into a really, but we got into a screaming, yelling fight. It wasn't really a physical fight. Well, it wasn't. I think I threw something. She said I threw something, something like cardboard or something, a cardboard tube. I don't even remember. Anyway, so we were in this screaming, yelling match, and it was like one of the first times in like maybe ever in our marriage where we were both kind of humming on cycle, and she kind of stepped to me. And that shit was real volatile for a second, where she kind of fucking, she usually realizes when to fucking back down, and the roids were flowing in her system and the roids were flowing in my system, and she admitted, like she'll admit, she was antagonizing me. Like I had been a dick long enough that she kept trying to ignore it. And I kept being a dick because the Tren will have me just kind of like push, you know? And I wasn't leaving her alone. And normally she would kind of back down from the shit, but then all that VAR was in her system, and she kind of stepped to me. And she kind of like started, like, I think she pushed me. I can't remember. She maybe she didn't actually push me, but she was like baiting me. Like, come on, fucking hit me, do something. And that's fucking bad, because we've had physical violence in our marriage way back in the day. I don't know if I've made videos about that or not. And so that's like a fucking huge no-no like situation. And so we both, I think, kind of like spotted it. And like I freaked out, she freaked out. She jumped in the car with the kids, with one of my kids, and jumped in the truck. We only had one vehicle at the time. She jumped in the truck to go pick up my son. She didn't tell me where she was going or what she was doing. And so I didn't know. And so I'm panicking a little bit. Thank God we can track each other on our phones. And so I start tracking her phone to see where it goes. And it looks like she's on their way to pick up my son. So I'm not really tripping, but I can't know if she's like calling some. I can't know what she's doing. You know, I'm paranoid. And so, you know, so I left the house. I just left. And like I said, I may have made a video about this. I can't remember. I left the house and I started walking to the gym, which is like a few miles away. I can't remember if it's like 6 miles. It's a little ways. And so I'm tracking her on the. I walked up to the Whataburger first. And I'm tracking her phone. Basically what she did is she went and picked up my son, and then she went to my dad's house to talk and cool off. And so I went to the gym, and then I went to eat, and I went to the gym, I came home, we were kind of working through some shit. But that was back during that period of time. If you look back at my video history, I was making a lot of foaming at the mouth Tren videos, talking about how my marriage was all fucked up, Trenbolone almost destroyed my marriage. There's a whole series of videos back. One of them was about Alyssa Heinerscheid from Anheuser-Busch. There's a video on my channel where it's got like I can't remember what it's called, but I think it says Trenbolone makes you more human than human. It's got like a Spartan soldier on it. If you dial back to those videos, that time period right there is where it was real volatile in my house. And I fucking scream and yell on Tren sometimes. I scream and yell in general. Well, we have this neighbor friend. I won't say her name. I should, because she's a fucking bitch. We had this neighbor friend that that was really kind of started out as my friend. So years ago, before she got pregnant with her twins, I used to spend a lot of time in the front yard. Like I was like real into my yard. And I had ryegrass growing out there in the spring and summer, and in the winter, fall, and spring. And then I would kill it off and let the Bermuda come in for the summer. I was always in the yard. I had like 8 rose bushes that I was always taking care of. We had cut flowers all over the house. I was always planting flowers and working in the yard. I just like staying out in the yard. 3 kids in the house, running around like crazy. That was just kind of my place of peace. And this girl, it's actually her parents lived next door to us. And she would come over with her kids or whatever, and she'd be kind of pawning them off on her mom. And I'd be out there topless in the yard, you know, working. And she's always come up with excuses to come over and talk to me. And she'd be telling me all this drag about how upset she was with her husband. Her husband wasn't fucking taking care of her needs. And it's like a lot of come on kind of talk, you know, where you're telling this stranger guy like way too much personal information. Sometimes she'd stand out there and talk to me for 30 minutes, you know, just lots of personal information. And, There's just no reason for it. Like, I didn't know her at all. She wasn't really my neighbor. She was just my neighbor's daughter. But we're like comparable in age, and I was out there all the time, and she'd just be out there chatting me up, dude. And I'm picking up on the signals, but it's like, whatever. I'm not doing anything. I'm not getting in trouble with my marriage. And I told Sarah about it. I was like, and so it was funny because like this girl would be out there talking to me, and then Sarah we'd be out there talking for like 30 minutes, and then Sarah would come outside, and all of a sudden she'd be like, oh, hi. And then she's like, well, I better go. You know, my mom's got the kids. And then she'd fuck off. That happened all the time. Like 9 times out of 10, second Sarah came out the house, this girl's gone. Okay, do the fucking math, dude. You know, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what's going on here. So this happened so much, in fact, that Sarah used to joke about it. Sarah was not intimidated by her, and she used to joke that that the neighbor's daughter had a little crush on me, on her husband. She told my parents about it. We would talk about it all the time about how there's this neighbor's got a crush on me, and she told me a lot. The shit kept getting crazier and crazier, right up until one point she comes walking over there to talk to me, and she's like depressed looking, and she's like, I'm pregnant. I found out that I'm pregnant. And I'm like, is it mine? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I knew it wasn't mine. Part of the reason she'd probably been angry at her husband is because she'd been pregnant. And so her pregnancy hormones were crazy. And so she's being a bitch to her husband, and she's coming and, you know, trying to find solace to cry on my arm, whatever. And so after that, you know, she was off being pregnant. She ended up getting pregnant with twins, and, you know, we didn't see them very much. And then, you know, the kids kept getting older, whatever. She's got 2 daughters that are close in age to my daughter. And then they sold their house in this kind of affluent area of Dallas, and they were moving out in the country, trying to get into a better demographic. And so they sold their house while their house was being built, and so they were living with her parents next door. So her parents, like, our house is 28 square feet, give or take. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, full dining, living, breakfast nook, big ass master bedroom. We have a pretty decent sized house. And so her parents' house, I think, is slightly bigger than ours. I think it's like 3,000 square feet, maybe a little bit more. It's two stories. My wife could tell you. I've never even hardly been in there. I don't know. But it's a lot of people. So it's her mom or dad. At this point, it's her and her husband. They have twin little boys and 2 little girls and 2 fucking cats. So all these people are living next door. But it's great because my daughter's getting to have these little girlfriends next door. They're playing every day. So me and this girl and my wife all kind of become friends. Well, finally, my wife and her kind of start actually becoming better friends because they're constantly scheduling like little play dates and shit. And sometimes like I would be at work or I'd be doing whatever, and they'd sit out in the front yard while the girls were playing in the spring. You know, sometimes they'd have a little wine, or they'd have like little picnics with the girls and shit. And so they kind of started becoming friends. But anytime I was out there, this girl would just gravitate toward me. Conversations would gravitate toward me. She would contact me on social media. She'd like all my little posts and stuff. And there was just always a feel, like I could just sense, like, that I just felt like she had an interest. I think it was pretty clear. And her and her husband don't really have any kind of a relationship. He works all day long, and he travels some, and like they don't communicate at all via text message during the day because supposedly he's busy in meetings. And then like this guy will come home from work, and he'll come home at 7 o'clock, and she'll be out in the front yard. She hasn't seen this dude all day. She'll stand out in the front yard talking to me till 9 o'clock. You know, Sarah sometimes would be inside cooking dinner. This guy would be inside sometimes reheating up whatever she had prepared for dinner, taking care of his kids that he just came home to after a full day's work, while she's out in the front yard just jabbering to me. And I told Sarah multiple times, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to get in trouble for this. Like, I think this girl's got ill intentions. Like, she's never, like, overtly come on to me, but, I mean, all the fucking girls don't really do that. Like, all the signs and symptoms are there. You know, there's conversations about sex, conversations about lots of things. And this kind of comes to a head at one point where we're standing out there and we're talking about Taylor Swift. And I'm talking about how much I like Taylor Swift, and I like the early years, and she's talking about the later years, and she's like, you know, every time the song Anti-Hero comes on the radio, I think about you. I was like, that's weird. Like, just driving around in your car, listening to fucking T Swift, thinking about your neighbor's husband. Like, what the fuck are you doing, you know? And why are you telling me this shit right in front of my wife? And then she was like, have you ever heard the song Mastermind? And I'm like, no, I haven't. She's like, you need to listen to that. Kind of like wink face. And so I'm like, okay. So I come in the house and I look up the lyrics to this song. And this song is like this girl is trying to steal some guy, I think. She's like trying to mastermind her way into getting into a relationship with this guy. And I'm looking at this like, what the fuck? I read the shit to Sarah. I'm like, dude, your girl it needs to back up off my dick. Like, this is crazy. Like, she's doing this shit right in your face. Sarah's like this eternal optimist. It's crazy. Like, she's an optimist to the max until she gets proven wrong. And then she'll go back in history and tell you all the ways you'd been fucking up the entire time and all the things I'd been doing wrong. Even while the whole time I was warning her and telling her, like, hey, something's not right here. So anyway, this is the background, okay, of the situation. So now they've become friends, and I kind of ignore her because I'm not falling for that shit. And so most of the time I'm in here just doing my own thing. Well, I was making YouTube videos, and my wife and I had been fighting. I'm screaming and yelling at the camera, foaming at the mouth. And I don't remember, my wife was going to try to argue which specific day it was. I don't fucking know. But one day, she was out there with the girls, and she said that this neighbor girl said, hey, I heard you and your husband, I heard you guys fighting last night. I heard him yelling at you. And Sarah was kind of like, yeah, you know, we've been going through it. It's crazy. It's, you know, one day it's good, the next day it's bad. It's up and down. And, you know, he's on cycle, and so he's volatile, and I'm on cycle. And I think she apparently kind of passively said, the way Sarah's telling me now, she kind of like sarcastically said, you know, and now we're getting ready to go camping up in the mountain. I'm about to go camping up in the mountains with this guy, you know, so like I could be trapped on the side of some mountain with him while he's having these mood swings. And this fucking bitch is gonna say, oh, well, you know, I'm really worried about you. I don't want something to happen. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's get a code word together. So if you get up on, you know, if you guys get out of town somewhere and you get nervous or you start fearing for your safety or whatever, then text me a blue heart and I'll know that's the code that you need to get out of there. And I'll have my husband get you a plane ticket so that you and the kids can fly home. Bitch, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Number one, there has not been any violence, anything even approaching any violence in this marriage in over 6 years. We had one little spat, tiny little thing. My wife is in no fucking danger at all of anything other than being forced to sit and listen to me talk about steroids for fucking hours on end. Like, that's the most abusive thing I do in this fucking marriage is take steroids and talk about it all the time and rant and rave sometimes. And like, so we have fights, and our fights are volatile because she pushes my buttons and I push her buttons, and I try to get her to leave me the fuck alone. She chases me around the house. This girl is talking craziness. And so supposedly Sarah kind of took what she said and was kind of dismissive of it. It was like, okay, like, thank you, but that's really not necessary. You know, we're going to be fine or whatever. But she didn't tell me. She didn't come right in the house and be like, holy shit, the neighbor girl's a fucking lunatic who just suggested that if I get scared on the side of some mountain and God knows what state we're in, that I should send her a secret blue heart text message so that she can put us on a plane to get out. Okay, so I don't know that this conversation has taken place. So for the last 10 months that Sarah and I have been living in marital bliss, and we've been building all of this trust in our relationship, and I'm going out of my way to be truthful and honest with her about every single thing, to the absurd, and Sarah does the same thing. She goes out of her fucking way to make sure that I feel totally safe and secure in our marriage. So anytime she goes anywhere, anytime she leaves this house, one of the kids is with her. She goes to Walmart, she's got the kids. She goes to Target, she's got one of the kids. She goes anywhere, 99.9% of the time, she has one of the kids. If for some reason the kids are not here, they're not going, and she needs to go someplace, she's like, come on, you're going with me. You know, she doesn't make me, but she like prefers me to just be with her because she knows that I get paranoid and that I doubt and that I worry, what the fuck are you doing? Because I'm like one of these kind of guys, I think people just fuck at the drop of a dime anywhere. You know, like if she goes to pick up the groceries from Walmart, I don't think it's beyond her to just be fucking in the front seat of the car at the grocery pickup line. To me, I am not secure in any way. There is never a place or time where I think the shit couldn't go down, because I've seen too many things in life. You know, she had an affair on her ex-husband to get with me. So there's no trust here, okay? And this is what we've been trying to build for all of this time over the course of the last 10 months or so, while we've been traveling, all these things. So Sarah does her part. Don't let me get it twisted. Sarah goes out of her way to make sure that I feel totally comfortable and secure. You know, anytime she gets a text message that's even remotely suspicious, or like if one of you guys from YouTube follows her on her private Instagram account, she lets me know, hey, do you know this guy? If somebody messages her, she ignores it. Like, she's really, really, really good at making sure I have no reason to doubt her intentions. Okay? So I have to give her that. But she fucked up and she didn't tell me about this bitch and this crazy ass plan. Because the thing is, the plan is so crazy. It's like, how would you even execute this? So like at one point we were staying on the side of a mountain in Utah that is nowhere near an airport, first of all. I mean, we're literally camping on the side of a mountain in buttfuck Egypt in snow-covered highways. And so the only way she could even get to the airport is she would have to be at the campsite. And she would have to either A, tell me I'm scared of you, and I want you to take me and the kids, get in the car, go to the airport, because this girl's gonna fly us home. She would have had to drop this secret plan on me up the side of the mountain in the middle of a fucking fight in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's gonna be safe. Like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Or she was gonna have to just take the truck and take the kids against my will and drive to the airport and hop on a plane and leave the truck potentially hours away from my campsite, where I am now stranded with a 14,000-pound trailer and all of our camping gear, and have no way to get to my truck, no way to get off this mountain to get resupplied or nothing. This girl's idea was so completely fucking insane that it tells you what a fucking lunatic piece of shit she is. And so this ended up accidentally slipping out the other night when we were talking about her steroid cycle, and she was like, remember when I was on 10 milligrams of Anavar, and that's when Alicia told me XYZ, and I'm like, oh, I said her name. Fuck it, I don't care. I said, what? And she starts laying out this whole conversation that they had like 10 months ago, and I go, you do realize this is the first time you're telling me about this? And she's like, yeah. And then she realized she's fucked up. And so my brain immediately goes in the toilet. Because it's like, this is what's called a lie by omission. You guys had some secret little plan. You should have told me about it immediately. She's like, well, we weren't talking. We were fighting. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Somebody fucking threatens me or threatens the security of my family like that, I need to know about it immediately. This is not a friend of the family. This is certainly not my friend. And anybody who's not my friend is not your friend. I live by the you are either for me or against me. And if you are not for me, then you are against me mentality. So it's either us or nobody. We don't have private fucking friends. Because all private friends do is break up fucking marriages. And so anybody that we associate is pro us as a family. If they are not pro us as a family, they are not in our lives. And the second that girl made that commitment, she became pro Sarah and not pro us. And I said, how would you feel if instead of, this girl, offering to fly you off the mountain, what if her husband had heard us fighting? And I'd gone outside and he said, man, I hear you guys are really kind of fucking hollering there. Is everything cool? And I'm like, no, we're going through some sexual issues again. Her libido's all fucked up. She keeps having all these chronic vaginal infections. I'm tired of dealing with this shit. Fucking losing my mind in here. And I got all pissed off. And what if he had said, bro, like, I get it, man. These bitches are, you can't count on them, okay? Don't get yourself in trouble. Look, let's have a secret code, okay? Next time you're having some marital conflicts with your wife and you just need a little time to get away, I want you to send me a text message that says, man, these kids are driving me crazy. And I've got this girl that I'm gonna send to your hotel room. She's real discreet. And she's just the kind of girl that you can let go and relax with for a night or two, whatever you need, and I'll pay for it, okay? So don't yell at your wife. Don't worry if things aren't going good in your marriage. If things start hitting the rocks again, send me a secret text and I'll hook you up with my friend who's a professional and she'll take good care of you. So how the fuck would you feel if this whole last 10 months you've been making friends with this guy thinking he's pro our marriage. He's got our kids over there playing around with him. Meanwhile, he's concocting schemes to hook me up with prostitutes because I can't cope with my marriage. In the same way, this girl's trying to fly you off the side of a mountain, leave me stranded in the middle of nowhere because supposedly you couldn't cope with our marriage. And of course, she's going to try to say that's not equitable. So this is what we've been fighting about. So I have blocked this girl from all of my social media accounts. She is cut the fuck off. This family will have absolutely nothing to do with her ever again. She was already a lunatic to begin with. She was already sexually inappropriate with me on more than one occasion. I should be fucking telling her husband about this shit, but I'm choosing right now not to. If you're watching this video, you need to never contact my family again. Okay, you fucked up, and there is no forgiveness for you. Okay, that relationship is over. If you contact my family again, I will escalate this shit to the next level because you told me a whole bunch of shit I don't think you want your husband to know about. So I suggest you fuck off and don't ever contact me or my wife again. So there you have it. That's what's been going on over the last few days when I say that I've been struggling with some issues in my marriage. And despite all of that, and despite the high levels of gear that I've been on, I have been in an uncanny calm. In fact, Sarah last night kept accusing me of being disingenuous because I wouldn't even yell at her. We were having the conversation and she kept saying I was being patronizing because I just wouldn't even gauge. I wouldn't even yell or scream or get mad. I just kept saying, she kept trying to drive this conversation and I kept saying, I told her last night, I was like, look, I'm choosing to not even get mad about any of the things that you're saying because I don't think that you really mean them. I don't believe this is you talking. Normally I would just be like fucking lose my shit. I was like, I'm choosing to believe that this is not really coming from you, that you're hurt and you're angry and you're upset because you know that you have destroyed my trust in you again, and you know that we're back to square one with the trust game, and you know that I'm hurt and that I'm going to pull away from you emotionally again and all the things you don't like, but that's the consequences of lying. So what I feel like is happening is that you did something you shouldn't have done. You've admitted that you shouldn't have done it. She's tried to explain it away by saying, well, I forgot. But I forgot. It wasn't like I was intentionally keeping it from you. It's just that she told me that thing and then I was like, oh, I don't need it. Don't worry, we don't need to do that. And then everything got better between you and I just forgot about it. It's like bullshit. We've had so many conversations about trust and always telling each other every detail to the maximum, being truthful to a flaw. I mean, that's the whole point of my channel. I take this truth shit seriously. Like, I come on here and pour my fucking heart out. I air out my dirty laundry. That's what all of you guys keep saying, that my level of honesty is a breath of fresh air in this community because I don't bullshit. I don't give a shit if people like me. You're going to get to know me for who I am, period. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm not pretending to be somebody I'm not. I take responsibility for my failures. And I need the people in my life to do the same thing, and that did not happen, and unfortunately I'm not okay with it. And so that's what we've been struggling through. And so I'm sure that's contributing to some negative appetite issues. But aside from all of that, there has been no trend rage. I've gotten angry a couple of times, but my wife, I think, will even agree that the tren is not exacerbating this problem. She gave me my last tren shot. After a fight, she's given me every one of the tren shots. Just like I said, that was going to be the marker in this cycle, was as long as she felt like I was managing the side effects, she would continue to give me my shots. So she's been doing that. And I'm having no night sweats, although I get very hot at night and I'm sleeping with the fan on high and I'm kicking the covers off. So typically I don't do that. If I was bundled up under the covers like I normally do, I think I would probably be sweating through the sheets. My BP is perfectly in line. It's like 117. Sometimes it's like low on the other end. It'd be like 117 over 65, 117 over 67, and that's at 120 milligrams of telmisartan. My resting pulse is up a little bit right now intentionally because I started using the GH again. Like I said, my strength is really good in the gym, but I don't have any muscular endurance because I'm clearly just in a pretty good calorie deficit. To have lost 6 pounds in 4 weeks is it's more than a pound a week. So I'm definitely in a at least probably a 750 calorie a day surplus or deficit. So I need to pick that up. And so I'm going to keep it going for a while because the psychological effects of the trend that are usually causing me to feel just a tremendous amount of doom and gloom and misery, I'm not having. The Masteron is continuing to crank my libido. We have great sex. Our sex life has not suffered in any way. Obviously, the last few days it has been admittedly distant because I'm not emotionally there like I usually am. There's been an absence of some of that emotional connection, but Sarah knows, we both know that sex is an integral part to a marriage, and just because you're fighting doesn't mean you don't do it. And I'm always loving with her. Like I never use sex as a weapon, and I'm never sexually aggressive with her. Like I'm not mean sexually. So even when I hate her, and there was one night we had sex and I fucking hated her, like it's still like I hold her, I caress her, I kiss her. Basically, sex just exists in a different, it's just like compartmentalized. So whatever's going on in the relationship, whatever feelings we're having about whatever the problem is at hand, sex is separate from that, because it's like food, water. You can't just stop, dehydrate yourself to death because you're fighting. You can't just starve yourself to death because you're fighting. You still have to eat, you still have to sleep, you still have to drink water, you still have to fuck. Sex is an important biological function, and especially when you're fighting. Because the last thing is, she understands this. The last thing she wants is for me to be on a mountain of gear and us to be fighting and stop having sex. Because the odds of some fucking philandering going on then are exponentially higher. Because my libido is definitively through the roof. So I can miss a day, one day of sex. If I miss one day of sex, that whole next day I can't stop thinking about it. Day 2, I'm a borderline rapist. Day 3, I'm gonna be in the club. So that's the way it is. She's got a very short time frame, and she knows that, and she's like the best wife in the world when it comes to shit like that. So all in all, the cycle has gone great. I have proven a lot of the things that I thought, which is that the Masteron seems to offset a lot of the trend depression and the negative aspects of what the trend can do to you psychologically. It has helped maintain all of my libido functions in perfect working fashion. I'm in a generally good mood the vast majority of the day. I mean, as bad as we've been fighting recently, for me to be in the mood to still be as positive as I am, to be able to be as calm as I have been, is just an unbelievable victory. I think when this is all said and done, Sarah's gonna make a video and have to admit that, damn, like, this guy really did turn the corner with this compound, because in cycles past, there's no telling where this could have ended up. So we're gonna keep working, man. I never give up on her. I never give up on our marriage. Even though sometimes I say I want to, I don't do it. We're gonna figure it out. I may be making a video about Louis Vuitton coming up soon. I went out to Gucci last night, had a huge blow up, and then Louis Vuitton released their new Spring/Summer 2024 collection, and it is the most disgustingly hideous thing I ever seen in my life. So if you see a video pop up titled something like Louis Vuitton just proved that we live in the Matrix, be on the lookout for that, because I have just lost any faith between Joe Biden, with all the shit that's going on in our country, dude. I've just lost all faith that this is not a joke. We have to be living in the Matrix. There's no way this is real. It just can't be. And that's one of the reasons why I just keep making these videos. Like, I just don't think we live in reality. I feel like there's just no conceivable way that the lunacy going on in our world could be anything but a sick fucking joke. So there you have it. That's the trend update. Questions in the section below. I'm sure I missed something because I got sidetracked with my marital problems, but hopefully you at least found that entertaining or interesting, and hopefully it continues to be a bare window into our world and the truth of what really goes on behind the scenes, rather than all the fake ass people on YouTube that just try to pretend like everything is always rosy and everything is good, and convince you that steroids don't come with a whole host of problems, man. They can fuck your whole life up if you're not careful. And I'm sure it's not a coincidence that this is happening again in the middle of a trend cycle. So there you have it. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.